Victor Lustig was born in Hustine, Austria-Hungary, on January 4, 1890, to a well-to-do family. His father was a prosperous cloth merchant, and his mother was a homemaker. Victor was the youngest of 6 children and was known for being a troublemaker from an early age. Victor's family had high hopes for him, and they sent him to school in Paris to study engineering. However, Victor was more interested in the nightlife and the gambling dens of the city than he was in his studies. He quickly dropped out of school and began to live the life of a playboy. Victor's first foray into the world of con artistry was a small-time scam involving a fake lottery. He would convince people to buy tickets, claiming that they had a chance to win large sums of money. Of course, the lottery was rigged, and Victor would pocket the profits. As his confidence grew, Victor began to target more significant marks. He would pretend to be a wealthy businessman or aristocrat and would convince his victims to invest in his latest venture. However, once he had their money, Victor would disappear, leaving his victims with nothing but a sense of shame and regret. Victor was a master of deception and had a bag of tricks that he would use to lure in his victims. He was charming, suave, and confident, and he knew how to play to his mark's weaknesses. One of his favorite tricks was the money box. He would show his mark a box filled with cash and claim that it was a magic box that would double any money placed inside. The mark would put their money in the box, and Victor would make a show of activating the magic. Of course, the box was just a simple sleight of hand trick, and Victor would disappear with the money. Another of Victor's favorite tricks was the Romanian box. He would show his mark a box that had 2 compartments. He would convince the mark that one compartment had gold and the other had silver, and that he could switch the contents of the compartments at will. The mark would watch as Victor appeared to switch the compartments, and then he would offer to sell the box to the mark for a high price. Of course, the box was just another simple sleight of hand trick, and Victor would disappear with the money. But he wasn't going to stop just with this. In 1925, he came up with a plan so audacious and so clever that it almost defied belief. He decided to sell the Eiffel Tower to a group of wealthy scrap metal dealers, claiming that the city of Paris was looking to get rid of the landmark and that he had been tasked with finding a buyer. Lustig's plan was meticulous. He rented a luxurious hotel room and invited the scrap metal dealers to meet with him there. He then spent several hours wining and dining them, gradually building up their trust and making them believe that he was a genuine representative of the city of Paris. Once he had gained their trust, Lustig dropped the bombshell. He told them that the city was planning to dismantle the Eiffel Tower and sell it for scrap metal, and that he had been authorized to broker the deal. He then presented them with a forged set of official documents, including a contract and a letter of authorization from the city's mayor. The scrap metal dealers were initially skeptical, but Lustig was a master of persuasion. He played on their greed, telling them that they could make a fortune from the sale of the Eiffel Tower. He also warned them that the deal had to be kept secret, as the city was anxious to avoid a public outcry. Remarkably, the scrap metal dealers fell for the con. They paid Lustig a large sum of money as a down payment, and he disappeared with the cash, leaving them with nothing but a set of forged documents and a feeling of deep embarrassment. But Lustig wasn't content with just one successful con. He returned to Paris a year later and decided to try his luck again, this time with a new target. He found a wealthy businessman named André Poisson, who was known for his love of rare art and antiques. Lustig spun a new tale for Poisson, telling him that the French government was looking to sell the Eiffel Tower as part of a wider privatization program. He claimed that the tower was in desperate need of repairs and that the government was keen to offload it to a private buyer who could invest in its restoration. Poisson was intrigued. He was a shrewd businessman and saw the potential for a good investment. He agreed to meet with Lustig several times, and the two men became friendly. Lustig even offered to take Poisson on a private tour of the Eiffel Tower, showing him the cracks and rust that he claimed were evidence of the tower's deteriorating condition. In the end, Poisson agreed to buy the Eiffel Tower for a huge sum of money, and Lustig disappeared with the cash once again. Poisson only realized he had been duped when he tried to sell the tower to a scrap metal dealer and was told that he had been scammed. Victor's luck eventually ran out, and he was arrested in 1935 for counterfeiting. He spent several years in prison, but he was not done yet. When he was released, he continued to run scams, but he was no longer the master of the con game that he had once been. In 1947, Victor was arrested again, this time for trying to sell a fake money printing machine to an undercover agent. He was sentenced to 20 years in Alcatraz, the notorious federal prison in San Francisco Bay. Victor took his final, and he died in 1947. His legacy, however, lived on.